Yo, 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 what's going on, you guys? It's your favorite video game podcast, the Sticky Buttons podcast, and we're coming at you with a very space-themed episode today, a Starfield episode. You know, it feels like a dream come true right now. I just had been anticipating this game heavily months ago, and here we are, sitting in front of a mic talking about it. It feels really surreal.
Yeah, I've just been so excited for this game. Like, I've lost sleep about it. So I'm just so excited that we're here on the mic to talk about it, man. But before we get into it, we had a couple updates and I kind of just want to go over those really quick. So these are some updates in regards to our Patreon. And just really quick, you know, from the bottom of our hearts, we really just wanted to say and just take a moment to say that we appreciate all the support that's been given to us at the Sticky Buttons podcast. And we have decided to do a little bit more with our Patreon, and we're really excited for it. So we've decided to start a Minecraft Realms, and if you pay as little as $1 to our Patreon, you'll get access to that Minecraft Realms. So we're really excited about that. We did do a Minecraft Realms for the channel at one point. We kind of put that out for anyone, and that was so much fun. I put so much time into that. I had such a great time. I mean, there was like a village of everyone's houses, and I just loved that. I kind of made...
There were terrorists, there were griefers. You can blame Brandon Rickert for that.
So that's kind of one of the reasons why that shut down. But yeah, we're just excited to be doing it again. So if you'd like to support us on our Patreon for as little as $1, you'll get access to that. And Brandon and I also were committing to do another... When we started the Patreon, we had made, I guess, the pledge to do an episode a month, an unedited episode a month, and it was just really kind of unsustainable for us, and that was really hard. And I think we were kind of just doing too much at the time. So we decided that every 3 months we're going to put out another one of those episodes. So just about whatever I guess we want to talk about. I'm kind of thinking, for me, I really just want to talk about some comics or some movies that I've watched and my takes on those. And if you listen to any of those, they get kind of wild. It's kind of like the B-side of the Sticky Buttons podcast. So I think we're really excited to do those again. So it's September this year, and we're going to put 2 of those out this year. So one around the end of September, beginning of October, and the other one at the end of the year. And if you support us for as little as $1, you'll get access to that. So
stay tuned.
Yeah, just wanted to update that we've made some changes to our Patreon. Thank you so much to anyone that has been supporting us there.
For as little as $1, you can keep this podcast alive.
Yes, you can keep this podcast alive for as little as $1 a month. Pays for our rent, our food, our mics, the lights. All right, Brandon, so let's get into it, man. Starfield. And I don't think you can talk about Starfield without just kind of talking about the absolute fervor that surrounds it. Just the hype, it has just been incredible. So I kind of just wanted to set the stage and, really quick, how are you feeling about the hype? I went full in. I'm assuming you did as well. How are you feeling?
I definitely did. I was watching a lot of, lore videos. I was trying to, understand what to do in the game. I was watching a lot of, the tips and tricks videos. Because it seemed that Starfield had paid for YouTubers to make content prior to the release. So I had a lot of that to watch. I didn't know that. For the launch. Just the sheer amount of ads on YouTube, people around me talking about the game. So the word of mouth of advertising was there. It was some serious advertising for this title. And dude, I don't even want to get into how I feel about the game yet.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. It was just so in my face, and I was just so excited for it. And I think that both of us, we were huge Skyrim fans, huge Bethesda fans, and we were just so eagerly anticipating this game and the promise of Skyrim in space. And I think that, the best place to start is, just to talk about Skyrim. November 11th, 2011, 11/11/11, Skyrim was released. And, it kind of changed the industry. It changed the way that I think about games, and it changed the way that many think about games. I mean, you truly get into this fantasy world and you can go anywhere. Like if you see a mountain, you can go to it. You can own property, you can own a house, and you can steal and you can fight, you can use magic, you can use swords, you can use an axe. You can, devote your entire playthrough to chemistry, and just that like freedom that induced, I don't know if had been seen in a video game. And I think that is why, I was just so excited to give Starfield a fair shot. It doesn't matter what the reviews were, I was always going to pick it up just because of my experience with Skyrim.
I agree. I don't think this was a title that I could have not played ever. I was going to pick this up at some point, and I'm glad I did, first and foremost. And, thinking about Bethesda and when it got acquired by Microsoft, it was a bit of an interesting acquisition, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how the game performs on the Xbox, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and that's something that's kind of come out recently. I mean, obviously, so this game is an Xbox exclusive in terms of consoles. It's also out on PC, so you can buy that from either the Steam store or the Microsoft store. And it's really interesting because there was an interview that came out prior to the launch of the game that they kept saying this is the most polished game we've ever created. And, that was the Bethesda studio saying that. And they said that because it was exclusive, that was a huge part of that. Because I guess the way that it works, which is something that I didn't necessarily realize, in terms of when you optimize a video game, there's an optimization team. And I think the way that this interview kind of came out, there's like 100 people. I think they were using an allegory. Like if there are 100 people on a development team or on this optimization team, right? So you have 100 people, they're on the optimization team, and their job is to make sure that the game runs on the Xbox, that it's optimized for that system. And they were kind of saying that generally in a studio, you would have this 100 people and it would be split 50-50 if there's two consoles. If it comes out on PlayStation and Xbox, half the team is working on Xbox, half the team is working on PlayStation. And I think they said because of there was only one system, the whole team was able to devote all of their time to the Xbox, and that's why it runs so smooth. And I think that that's really interesting, how that kind of came out. But I guess just kind of, back to, the energy around it. It had a lot of promise. I think that the marketing for this game really kind of came out and said, I don't know if they said this is Skyrim in space, but they did everything but say this is Skyrim in space. And for a lot of people that were expecting to have a ship, be able to fly a ship, be whoever they want to be in space, whether they want to be a trucker or a bounty hunter, or just some guy in a spacesuit that pickpockets people in a city. The possibilities are nearly endless, and I think that people are just so excited for that, let alone crafting and base building and all of these aspects of it. People are just so excited for it.
I want to ask you, what did you expect going into Starfield, like before you had any knowledge of the gameplay? What were you expecting?
I guess I was kind of expecting... Actually, funny enough, I was expecting to run around the world in third person and kind of explore, discover places, meet characters and go on a quest. I don't know if this really answers your question, but right out of the gate, I mean, I have been playing almost exclusively in first person, which I think is really interesting. I guess I really wasn't that invested in it until I saw the gameplay. So once I saw the combat, once I saw the ship combat and the base building, that's when I got excited for it. I mean, what about you? Were you expecting something different?
It was hard to not just think of Skyrim as the outline and then just change it to space.
Absolutely.
And, I also was thinking about kind of the time aspect of it, Skyrim being released almost a decade ago now, and us being on next gen, and kind of what can, from a design perspective, what can they do to really pique our curiosity?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very interesting because I think a lot of games I'll just pick them up and play them for what they are. And there isn't just these, I'm not immediately making comparisons, to Skyrim, one of my favorite games. And I think that just because of who it is and what the studio is, it really just invites that immediate comparison, which I normally, I try to meet a game for what it is and not kind of look at what's surrounding it. I also, for me, something that's happened since Skyrim came out was Breath of the Wild. Honestly, I think it did what Skyrim did, but it made it better. And it kind of, you can see that over there. You can go there. And I was kind of expecting, I think, a little bit of Skyrim to have some flavor of Breath of the Wild kind of mixed into it. And that sense of freedom and exploration. And I think there's also, I guess there's an immediate comparison to an indie game called No Man's Sky, which we've talked about. And I think that there's just because it's set in space, you can walk on the ground, hop in a spaceship, and go. There's the immediate comparison to that game. And it's odd because all three of those games are very different from Starfield. And I think that it's weird that it just immediately invites all of these comparison points to incredible games, and it's nothing like them. Do you agree about that?
I definitely do. And I think it says a lot about the way that consumers think, right? They don't really have a basis for this product that they're expecting to buy. So they're just looking at, anything they have, any data points that they do have already, and kind of trying to base their guesses off of that, which makes sense. But I think from a marketing perspective, if you understand that, you can really cash in on that. You can really capitalize on that. And I think that the Starfield marketing team definitely did that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, for me, it captured my heart and mind. I was all in. And I do think that Starfield's a great game. I do think that the marketing is maybe a little misleading now that I've played it. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that statement. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, dude, do you want to get into it, man? I mean, we've kind of set the stage.
Yeah,
I guess something we haven't talked about is, this is an Xbox game, and you had to buy an Xbox for this, and I think there's a lot of pressure on this game, just being an Xbox game, and there's a lot of Xbox games recently been kind of duds. So I guess with all that in mind, Brandon, what did you think of this game? When you set out into this world, had you read any reviews? What were your first takes? I mean, you streamed this. I guess I watched a little bit of this, so I guess that's kind of a different thing that we've done normally. Like, you streamed it, I kind of watched it. And, dude, what was that experience like? What was your first steps in Starfield?
My first steps in Starfield, I was trying to just keep an open mind. Uh-huh. I immediately knew that I would be making many playthroughs in this world. But you're kind of immediately introduced to the character customization menu, which is, very friendly, very appealing. And I was excited to create my first character. I went ahead and made a character that looks like me, but I didn't kind of I put a face tat on him because I would never get a face tat in real life.
I thought that was funny.
He looks like one of my favorite artists now. But it's really fun to, kind of dabble with that character customization. I thought it was really cool that there were already some, pre-made builds that you can play through, which is really, really interesting. They kind of have, their own urges, or they have, a name for what they urges, essentially. Basically, these pre-made characters are going to do things without your control, and I didn't need any of that, so I made my own character, and it turns out that I ended up doing that anyway. I ended up having my own urges in the game. But, yeah, I started off, and I was immediately in my Honda Civic of a ship, just flying around and stuff.
Hey, you can't talk shit about the Frontier, man. That's the only ship I have. My ship is not a Honda Civic, man. I'll tell you that straight now.
Mine definitely is, because I have not touched it one bit. I've just been flying around doing quests. I immediately started working with is it Constellation?
Yeah, Yeah, that is I guess the faction of space explorers.
You're right. I started working with them, and I've garnered quite a bit of a following.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of supporters there. Although recently Samco, one of my followers, he didn't like that I assassinated someone on a mission.
Damn. So he was displeased with you for taking the hard route?
He was heavily displeased. He was saying he didn't think him and his daughter could fly around in my ship anymore. And, I wasn't too upset about it.
The companions are really interesting. I mean, you kind of start off the game and you're almost immediately forced to have, I guess, Vasco as a companion. And I guess let's get into the traits and the start, like how you started the game. Because for me, I mean, you pick 3 kind of starting skills and it takes forever to level up. So those starting skills are really important. And I picked 2 of my starting skills were stealth related. I had, I guess, like stealth as one and pickpocketing. And my companion just immediately blows the cover. So you're not allowed to be stealthy, especially with the first companion. So I was a little bit jaded when I started because I wasn't able to use the skills that I had picked for my character right out of the gate. What skills did you pick and how did you start playing?
I picked the jetpack skill because I figured that would be essential to traveling. I picked a research skill because, I'm a professor, so I'm going to, need...
Oh, you're a professor?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I already get boosted in research, so I figured I might as well invest further into that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also invested into the pistol certification skill.
Nice.
Because I figured that, if there's any starting weapon in a game like this, it'd probably be the pistol. So I needed something to, I wanted to be able to hold my own with the pistol. And I will admit, I did have help of YouTube to help me pick these.
Yeah, I did as well. They're very confusing, and you don't necessarily know what you're getting into. So I also used a guide to help me pick which starting class. Hold on, really quick, before we get too much further. What's your name of your character? Did you just go with Brandon?
Yeah, I did.
You didn't go with, Captain Brandon, Pirate Brandon?
No, yeah, I just went with Brandon.
I guess you're a professor, Professor Brandon. Are you playing it as a professor? Are you kind of role-playing that way?
I'm not playing it as a professor. I'm kind of playing it as a professor who's gone rogue since he's lost his tenure.
Oh, that's so funny, man. I love that. I'm about to start a new character. I've been playing as Erin. Me and Erin, we kind of sat down and built her as a character. And I was like, what do you want to be? And she wanted to be like a pirate like a crazy space pirate, which I just thought was kind of funny. And I named the character the Erinator, kind of like the Baconator, but it's just the Erin. And so I thought that was really funny. But I'm going to start a new character, and I kind of just got into it, and I haven't streamed it all. So I'm going to start a new character as Blake and stream that one. And my plan is I think I'm going to title myself Blake Staghorn, and I'm going to be like a bounty hunting botanist is kind of what I'm going to do. So I'm excited to get into that and just kind of redo my whole skill tree. And I'm not going to pick any stealth.
The bounty hunters are a pain in the ass, dude. Whenever I'm trying to go to a new star system, there would be a bounty hunter just waiting to collect the bounty on me, and I don't have any ship. Wanted? I don't have any ship things for fighting, so I try not to fight them. But what is wanted?
Is that, I think that's one of the the skills that you can have, or I guess one of your character backgrounds, that whenever you'll hunted by bounty hunters, and you get a small buff to your health. Did you pick that one?
Oh, I think I did pick that one. I thought it would make it interesting for the professor to be wanted. That's why.
Man, Brandon's a rogue professor. He did some crazy experiments, man. That's why they're after him, dude.
People off, man. They're after me, dude. They're trying to silence me.
I think I might pick wanted as well when I pick.
It's actually pretty funny because see, I'm pissed off, but I did it to myself.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So you've pretty much been sticking to the main quest then, mostly Constellation?
Yeah, I've been doing mostly Constellation. I've been working also at Ryujin. Have you heard of them?
Working there?
Ryujin, yeah.
Tell me about that.
They're a corporation in a small man. I think this galaxy is, if I'm not mistaken, the Andromeda.
Okay.
It's like a small moon off a planet there. And there's a city where Ryujin Industries has an office. And I started working for this corporation, this really shady corporation. I still don't quite know what they do.
Oh, man. That's most corporations, man.
But they just send me on like these really like specific quests. So I last had to steal the security key card, and that's where I ended up just killing the security guard because this was like a really buggy quest where I was like trying to figure out how I can pickpocket this dude, but it was not letting me pickpocket him at all. So
you have to have the skill unlocked. In order to pickpocket somebody, you have to have that unlocked on the skill tree.
Oh, I see. See, I had to just, wait and get that skill, but instead I took the hard route.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, I guess, not to cut you off, but it's very old school RPG in that way, where you have to have unlocked the skill in order to do the action. Very interesting. Like in a lot of Bethesda games, you can like lockpick right out of the gate, but if you don't buy the skill for it, like use the skill point to unlock the ability to lockpick, you can't lockpick. Same goes for the jetpack. My starting character didn't have a jetpack for a while until I leveled up. How do you feel about that?
It definitely makes for a different feel. It's not what I'm used to with these kind of games.
Mm-hmm.
But in this specific case, it made me get creative, and
you had to kill him.
Yeah, I had to kill him, and I learned something about the corporation that I'm doing work for. They really didn't seem to mind that I did that.
But Sam Coe did?
Yeah, Sam Coe did, man.
Did you get paid extra for killing him?
No, I don't think they knew because I didn't leave any witnesses.
Except for Sam.
Except for Sam. But Sam's working for me.
He's on your shit, man. You know where he sleeps.
Exactly.
Come up on him, man. Open the airlock.
He knows I'm a wanted man. He knows not to try anything.
Oh, that's funny. Well, let me ask you this. When you first start your quest in Constellation, you get to the city of New Atlantis. What did you feel when you got to the city and kind of got to Constellation for the first time?
I definitely thought this was easier than I expected to travel. Like, the travel seems to be like I can just fast travel anywhere really quickly. I thought I was kind of like actually have to fly places and like, weave asteroids and stuff and fly through star systems, but that's not the case here. You can just fast travel wherever you go from anywhere.
How do you like that? Because I think that is where a lot of people are kind of rubbing up against the game, where you can't just jump in your starship and go to space.
I can see if you were, and that's why I asked like what you were expecting. If you were expecting kind of more of like a spacefaring game where you're flying through space in your ship, maybe this isn't the game for you. Maybe you want to check out a different kind of space sim, because the space flight here is not the focus. The focus is more about the storytelling within the confines of Starfield, right? So it's kind of just like a simulation world. And that, drawing the comparison to Skyrim, it's kind of like Skyrim set in space. I mean, I can't put it any other way. I think that sums it up very simply.
It really is, but it's different because in Skyrim, I think a lot of people are drawn to the, hey, I can fudge my way up this mountain if I keep jumping and I can go anywhere. And I mean, I feel like Starfield is really just about the characters and the story they're telling. Like, I can't help but be just a little disappointed about how, I guess, it feels to explore. It doesn't feel as seamless, or as you're not rewarded in game for exploring, but you are necessarily rewarded to where, like, if your own curiosity and role playing is like, if your character would have gone over to that point, you're going to be rewarded because maybe you'll meet somebody or find something. I think it's fascinating that, I mean, in the time that I've played it so far, the most enjoyable interaction was talking to Vasco after we'd kind of set out on our quest. And I was able to, like, the dialogue tree to talk to Vasco was almost endless. Like I spent almost an hour in this one conversation with Vasco, and I just couldn't believe that I was talking to him for that long. And I mean, when you're in space, it's very segmented from when you're on the world and vice versa and exploring. And
that's a good way to put it. And I think also you're alone when you're in space, as opposed to when you're in a planet surrounded by a civilization. It's very lonely in space, so it helps to have Vasco or your crew there with you.
Yeah.
And have you also figured out the rest mechanic?
The rest mechanic?
Yeah. Do you know that you have a bed in your ship and that you should sleep for double XP for 35 minutes?
I did not know that. So what, you kind of go up to the bed and you can sleep in it?
Yeah, so you have a bed. It's about in the middle of your ship. And,
I have sat down in seats to pass time. Is it the same thing as that?
Yes. So if you sleep to pass time, you actually, when you wake up, you get a 35-minute double XP boost. So you should always be sleeping. So
do you have to sleep for a set amount of time? Do you have to sleep for 8 hours?
I'm pretty sure it's just you just got the act of it. And I'm pretty sure you can only do it once every 24 hours.
That's awesome.
Every your system's clock 24 hours.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little boost.
It's fascinating. There are just so many elements to this game. It's very simmy. You really are a person existing in this world. And I guess let me just ask you this, right? How do you feel in the world? How do you feel in the world of Starfield? Do you enjoy your time with it, or?
I really enjoy it. Some of my earliest memories are visiting, NASA's command center and their little. Remember one time they did a trip where they brought one of their space hab modules for us to see and kind of experience what life was like in space for astronauts.
Was this in school?
This was in school in real life, and I was a very young kid. I must have been 8 or 9 years old, but just being there, I remember thinking wow, this is really fascinating. And it gave me a different appreciation for science and space. And now that I'm playing Starfield, it really does make me excited to go to space. I know that I won't be able to do it in my lifetime, but I do know that there will be humans that will have ready access to that. I just pray that our planet stays healthy and we don't forget about taking care of Mother Earth. But it is very exciting to think about that future, and this game does give you that chance to simulate that. I really do think it does. And so if you want that simulation, if you want to experience what that might be like, definitely pick this up.
Yeah, it's interesting. You hit some great points there. I mean, it really does kind of feel like it's just NASA, but in the future. And I guess I do kind of want to, bring it back to what you had asked me earlier, or a point you had brought up earlier about kind of expectations. I'm remembering now that in the marketing, I think Todd Howard said the isolation of space, the desperate isolation of space. And you really feel that. You can feel, just being alone in the universe. And
when you open up that map to fast travel anywhere, and you see where exactly you are in space, relative to this map, you're like, damn, I'm in some deep recess of the galaxy right now. That's really cool.
Yeah. I feel like I'm not far enough into it to really have any opinions about some of this stuff.
I agree on that. I feel the same. I have at least 15 hours on it. I do have a good amount of time on it. I just know that there's so much more to the game. It really is a can of worms.
Absolutely.
And Bethesda, me knowing Bethesda and what they're capable of, it's really one of those things where you have to progress far in the game to really start to see kind of how they designed it, or the experience that they designed. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Think about Skyrim, and when you finally are level 150 and you're able to craft Daedric armor, and you're able to have all these conjure up all these you get to really explore the different facets of the game and experience them in their full capacity. And it really heightens the experience and makes the game that much more exciting. It makes you want to get back on it and explore more and just create those experiences. And Starfield does that for me, and that's why I'm hesitant to like create more characters yet. I kind of just want to like see how far I get with this first build, see how far I can push it, what the limits are, and then I kind of want to like, you know, toy around with different builds. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess just to kind of go off that, I'm about like 10 hours in, a little bit less. I was really only able to play this on the plane on my Steam Deck, so I'm really excited to kind of mess around with the graphics settings now and try and like get it to perform a little bit better and kind of tinker with that. I was on a vacation when this game came out, so haven't really got to spend as much time with it as I want, and I really wanted to stream my experience, so that's kind of why I created Aaron as a character. And I just thought it was funny when we created her, we gave it like the hero worship background. Like she's got moms, like her mom and dad, like they're in the game. Haven't met them yet, but I kind of came across the hero worshipped, and like that is just so funny to me. So I'm considering doing that on my playthrough when I kind of do it for me. But yeah, dude, I mean, like this game is just so big. I'm starting to feel a little bit like there's some parts of the game where I'm still like waiting to reserve judgment, but I'm starting to like, I don't know, kind of like form an opinion or kind of see where something might be going. I was kind of a little bit off-put by Constellation when I got there. You know, I don't know if you felt this way, but I was kind of like, I guess when the game started, I kind of felt a little bit confused as to like, why did this guy Barrett, like why did he give me his ship? Like why am I off to Constellation? Like I felt very confused about it. Did you feel that way at all when you started?
I'm not gonna lie, yeah, I still don't know who Barrett is.
Yeah, no, it's really.
I find that they kind of just like threw this on us, and that's part of the reason why I like kept going too. Like I kept playing so much because I wanted to like at least meet this Barrett guy and follow up on it. And I'll tell you, Blake, I have followed the quest quite a bit, and you don't meet Barrett.
You don't meet him?
I mean, I haven't met him yet, dude, and I've done a significant amount of Constellation stuff, and that's why I started working with Raijin and started focusing on my own things, because I actually don't have the wanted thing, Blake. I just have done really bad things, and people have sent bounties on my head, because I figured out which one I have.
Funny.
I have the one where I start with a home, and I have to pay Galbank for the mortgage.
Oh my gosh, did you got a freaking mortgage?
It's like
honestly, Brandon, I don't know how you're playing this game, man. Brandon's like, give me a video game, give me a job, like let me get a job in a video game, and let me just get a mortgage I can't pay. Like that sounds like my kind of game. I don't get that.
So now I'm over here. I'm working for a shady corporation trying to pay for this mortgage.
Pay for your house. Dude, is it worth it? Is your house nice?
Dude, I visited and I can't even walk in. Like they said, if I want to live in there for a week, I can pay $9,500. But at the end of the week, they kick me out.
You're about to foreclose, man.
I was like, they gave me the option, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this money one way or another. Blake, I will get the 5,000 credits. That's why I've spent some skill points in the bartering. So that's been my tactic. I've been bartering a lot, like just buying things, selling them. I've been honestly stealing. I've been stealing a lot of materials and then reselling them to different shops, and that's been working pretty well. Funny. That's a little tip right there. But I've been having a good time. You know, that's the main thing. I'm excited to get back on it. It's just that 2K has been this year's 2K. They actually did a good job, but that's for another episode. But Starfield, you know, it has a special place in my heart. Bethesda will always have a special place in my heart. And I'm excited to play this game some more, stream it. Definitely a really fun game to stream. The content just creates itself constantly.
Yeah, it's really funny, man. It's funny you say that about having like to pay that money, because I'm so broke, dude. Like one of the first times I got to Atlantis, there's the city of New Atlantis, I kind of like was kind of sneaking around, and I found this person. Like I was in a bush. They were on a bench. I was like, nobody can see me. It says I'm hidden. I pickpocketed them, And I was like, there was no point. This person just has like drugs on them. Like that's all they have is drugs. I was like, whatever. I kind of like put it in my bag. And then I like immediately get arrested. And they're like, hey, you got to come with us. Like if you don't pay this fine, like you're going to be in jail. So I kind of like paid the money. And then I was like, damn, I don't know how they caught me. Like it said I was hidden. So then I tried to do it again and I like did it again and the same thing happened. So all of my money just went to the police, man. I had to pay my own bail.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've gotten caught up with the cops a couple of times. It's best to just give it up right away, dude.
Yeah.
Just give it up. Don't try to
Have you gotten in some gunfights with them?
Oh, man, I got whacked in the head with a pistol. Something, dude. They knocked me right out, man. They put me right out. Don't fight the cops, man. Unless you're like, funny. Unless you really got some serious heat, dude. I'm talking like you're packing some serious heat. Do not try to fight the cops, man.
Oh, that's funny. Gosh, that's silly. Actually, I did want to say, like, on the Barrett quest, man, this is kind of what I mean is where you really have to, like, you have to give the game your time. And in terms of, like, the Barrett thing, it is kind of weird, and I thought it was weird. So I talked to Vasco about it. And I had, like, a 10-minute conversation with Vasco, which this was, like, the first time I was in the ship. So I was just confused. I was like, I guess I'll just talk to Vasco. And he kind of said that eventually one of the dialogue options was something along the lines of, isn't it weird that this guy Barrett just gave me his ship?
Yeah, I do remember that option I had.
And Vasco kind of said, well, it actually wasn't his to give in the first place, which I thought was kind of funny. But then he kind of goes on to say that Barrett is the only other person in the universe that has experienced the same vision that you have, the vision that you had when you touched the artifact. So he said, it's a leap of faith because he wants answers as much as you do. And for me, I was like, okay, I can get behind that. I can buy into this thing where this guy would give me his ship then. But it's just weird that it takes you the extra step to talk to Vasco to get that information. So, I mean, you really have to, I feel like this game, you really have to invest in it. And I feel like you can't meet it at surface level. You really have to kind of, give it your time and give it some patience.
Yes, if you're like a casual gamer and you're not like paying attention to detail, I feel like a lot will go over your head with this title because there is a lot of detail there, and it's easy to overlook it with like the quality of life improvements that they've put.
Yeah, absolutely.
You kind of just have to keep an open mind and build a better filter for Starfield. You kind of have to understand like the way they tell stories and point things out in certain ways. That's helped me complete a couple quests, like reading between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it's a different kind of game. I mean, it really feels kind of like an old school RPG. I mean, there's a lot of loading screens, and I've been spending a decent amount of time doing inventory management. Have you been experiencing the same thing?
I've invested into physical, so.
Okay. Does that just let you carry more?
Yeah, exactly. Definitely invest into that.
Is it a lot? Does it help you substantially?
Yeah, it actually gives you like 35 more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Give you a couple more. Right?
That's quite the boost. It's interesting. I actually, like, how do you feel about it in today's day and age where most games don't even have an inventory system and you kind of just get in and, you can pick up whatever and drop whatever and you don't have to manage your inventory. Like, how do you feel about having to do that and spend that time in this game?
As long as I feel like it's a trade for, other quality of life improvements that you do get, and in a way I see what you mean by like an old school game. It's like you probably could have figured out a better system for that, but you still included that kind of constraint. And
I think they did it on purpose.
Right,
I don't think
that's what I'm insinuating. It like offers kind of a different experience of space, and it gives you kind of I think it exacerbates that idea of isolation, right, that the lead designer was going for.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, man, because whenever you have a companion with you can have them carry stuff for you,
and it makes all the difference when you're being chased by bounty hunters throughout space and you have a companion to use some ship parts that you just so happen to have bought at a convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
And they can heal it for you while you're in the middle of that battle, and it allows you to fight for just that much longer so that you can stay alive.
Yeah.
it's little things like that like come into play in the game and kind of give you that experience of survival in space.
Yeah, absolutely. It's too early to say what the point of it is, like what the point of Skyrim is or what they're trying to say. But I think it's interesting that we're both kind of feeling this, importance of the characters and not being alone or being alone and, the trade-offs of that. And I almost wonder if, obviously we're too soon in the story to say, but I wonder if they're trying to, have a message of when we get into space, our greatest ally is each other. And I'm starting to see a little bit of that even in the early game.
That's beautiful. I think even if they weren't going for that, it's definitely there. You can definitely draw that from the game for sure.
Yeah.
It's invaluable to have companions in the game. And you can also kind of, going back to simulation, you can like automate tasks. You can delegate tasks, give one to your people, so to say, and have them focus on different things so that you can achieve more within the game. And that's something that's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to exploring more, is just seeing how far my companions can go as far as like making me more money, because dude, I gotta pay this mortgage. I gotta figure out something.
That's funny. Can you do like bounties? Like I thought I saw there was like a bounty board or something.
There is, especially if you join the other one. I think it's called the Frontier.
Okay.
It's like a police force you can join, and
is it like the Vanguard? Is that what it is?
Yeah, and also Gal Bank.
I'm not gonna join them, man.
The bank also. If you go to the bank, the guy, you can become a debt collector for the bank and start collecting their debts. And
no, thank you, man.
I've done a couple of those because listen, I had to get credits any way I can. But I think that's how I've gotten a bit of a bounty on my head, is doing those missions. Maybe that and Ryujin, because I know Ryujin has a lot of competitors.
Dang, you're just working for the corporations, man.
Dude, I gotta get these credits however I can.
That's interesting because I haven't engaged with any corporation yet. Maybe I will, but yeah, I haven't even found the option. So I guess that's something that's out there. How did you get a job? Did you just like, hey, give me a job?
No. I don't want to spoil anything, but...
Dude, tell me, man. Get it out there.
I kind of got extorted into this job.
Oh, you got extorted? Like you got blackmailed into the job?
Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy. All right, I guess say no more, man. Jeez.
Blake's like, fuck.
Bro, the professor out here, he's getting blackmailed. He's collecting debts.
It's been tough since I lost my tenure.
Did you have the face tat before or after you lost your tenure?
It happened after. I had a brief stint. With some space fentanyl.
Oh my gosh, dude. Brandon was like an honest professor, probably studying physics, and he just like his whole life collapsed, man. He's about to lose his mortgage. He's got a face tat. He's working for a seedy corporation and the bank. Oh my gosh.
So stay tuned.
Got a Honda Civic.
Stay tuned. Tune into the stream to see how I get out of this mess, guys.
Oh my gosh. You got a baby mama too?
No, not yet, but I've been flirting with this one girl at the Constellation. She's pretty cute.
Who is it?
What's her name? Amanda, I think. I don't remember her name right now, but you can actually have like companions, like you can start dating people. The other day they were giving me the option to start flirting with Sam Coe, but I was like, I don't want. He already has a daughter, so
Yeah. Hey, you never know, man. I don't know if I like the companions. Like, I feel like they kind of kill them.
You can tell them to go at any time, Blake.
I feel like they're kind of buzzkills. Honestly, the only companion that I really liked was the Adoring Fan. He was cracking me up, dude. I asked him what he liked to do outside of... I don't know, I just asked him to tell me more about him. And the Adoring Fan, he was like, well, I like tea, I like coffee, and I like worshiping the ground you walk on. I was like, what?
You just throw it away. like just snuck that in there.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one, and I think that offers like a different layer to the game, kind of a comedic element
Yeah, he's hilarious, man.
The story that you can tell is really interesting. It kind of like competes with Baldur's Gate in that sense of like you don't know how the story is going to play out, that the story can go in any direction. It's very D&D.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna get tangled up with the bank. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, dude. The bank is, dude. They'll send somebody for you. That's all.
Oh, jeez. They'll send a ex-tenured professor with a face tat. He's coming for your money, man. Have you played Baldur's Gate?
Dude, I haven't played Baldur's Gate, and I see why the hype is there. It's really fun. It's really, you can just get sucked right into it.
I might have to check that one out. But I think I really want to give Starfield like a fair shake. I think I'm gonna commit to it.
Starfield, Baldur's Gate. I have a lot to play. Needless to say, I'm not buying any games for a while.
You got 2K too. Sounds like it.
Yep, 2K Madden as well.
So. You got Madden too? Dang, dude. Brandon's out of money in real life too. It sounds like. You can pay for your rent.
Yeah, I always pay for my rent. That's always first, ladies and gentlemen.
First of the month.
Then it's me. That's why video games are a great investment, because I can just stay inside and not have to spend money.
Yeah, that's going to be me this month. Yeah, I'm a little broke right now myself.
Yep, it'd be like that, man, but it only takes
it was a great summer, you know?
It's right back. It was a great summer. That's how I'm going to put it. Yeah.
Well, hey, man, do you want to wrap this episode up? Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Nah, dude, I want to get right back into the stars, dude. I got some ops to catch up on, man. There's some bounty hunters I had to get back at.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I guess, okay, before we end it up, what are you just like your broad strokes? Like, how are you feeling about the game?
You know, overall, they catfished us a bit. I'm not going to lie. But, Bethesda, they did a good job. You know, was it necessary? No, I don't think the catfish was necessary. Still very attractive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they saw it themselves. And that's kind of why they last minute were like, yeah, let's put the last bit of money, every last bit of money we have on marketing and shit on this, so we get those initial sales. Because unfortunately, I remember from Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, that initial sales stat is everything in this industry.
Yeah, it kind of seems that all the sales have to come up front, and there's not much of a tail to it.
Because if you hit that, like, 850 million on release date, then everyone else is like, oh, well, it must have been great. You know?
Must have been good, yeah. Here, I actually don't know how it sold. Let me see. Let me look that up really quick.
I think it's so fascinating that we have that many humans that we can put out projects like this and have that many people actually check them out and consume them. And now look at us, we're talking about it. Like, just the economics behind this is so fascinating.
So I feel like we have to compare it to... I'm actually going to compare it to Baldur's Gate, because just saying how many copies it sold doesn't... Yeah, you have to have a comparison. And it's also like Baldur's Gate 3 is only out on PC...
and PlayStation. So they are direct competitors, too. I can see how they are direct competitors. Like, the way they play, very similar. I kind of want to play one or the other.
So it kind of seems... This is from a couple days ago. It says... So that this... Obviously, it's more than this at the moment, but it says... Actually, this is as of August. This is almost a month ago. As of August, Baldur's Gate 3 has topped 5.2 million sales on Steam. And it looks like Starfield has sold more than 6 million.
Sheesh.
So they're very, very comparable.
6 million, dude? That's better than I thought for initial sale. I was thinking more in the ballpark of like 3, maybe 4.5.
Yeah, I guess it's not something that we normally talk about, but
we should.
Yeah, it looks like more than 6 million players have.
We both study business. We should talk about it.
Yeah, I guess I don't. I mean, for me personally, I don't think it adds that much value when you talk about like how many units it sold. You know, I think it's somewhat interesting, but I do think it's more interesting to talk about the game itself. I mean,
No, yeah, and that's not what we do here. We kind of just talk about like the games we love.
Yeah.
But in this specific aspect where we were talking about the marketing and like how they catfished us.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
It's just, it worked. You know, their efforts were, you know, the makeup and stuff, all the stuff they did. It did a great job.
Yeah.
So
I guess maybe we can follow this up next episode with some more research on, you know, I guess. Because I think that also something that I think is interesting is it came out on Game Pass. So I guess this is the first game where you could play an exclusive for $10. Or if you have an Xbox, you don't necessarily have to buy the whole game. You can play it on Game Pass. I think that's only like $10, so you don't have to pay the full $70. So I wonder if those numbers are.
I bought the premium edition, which was like $100 and something bucks.
So you got to play this game a little bit early then.
I did. I got to play a pre-release.
Did you listen to any of reviews before you went into it?
No, I didn't. I kind of just jumped right into it. I knew something beforehand just told me it would be a great game, and I was totally right. I mean, you spend 25 years on anything, even just like with an idea, you know, it's got to be.
Yeah, you're gonna have something.
You're gonna have something, and they definitely have something there. They know it. It's timeless. You can tell from now. People can pick this title up 50 years from now and understand what the craze was about in 2023. So.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, I really feel like it took over everything for a little bit there.
For sure.
I feel like it's kind of simmered a little bit, but there's still so much, like it's different kind of content now. It's a different kind of fervor where it's like, hey, you should check this out, or, you know, you should, you know, try and do this, or let me explain how the skill tree works, or how to get the best weapons, or how to make your bullets more effective, and how to get the most out of exploration, and things like that. It is really interesting to see, and I guess I'm really excited just to put more time into it and to kind of invest a little bit more into it, because I'm very interested in it now, and I just can't. I feel like it's every second I play, it only grows, or my interest only grows. So,
I agree. My interest for it is only growing. I'm itching to get back on it right now. I'm not gonna lie. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. Stay tuned for more Starfield content. We're definitely going to have a lot more coming. I know I'm going to be streaming a lot more Starfield for y'all. So stay tuned. Sticky Munchkin, twitch.tv/Sticky Munchkin. That's me.
Yeah, and we'll have the links for that below.
Some traction on the Twitch.
Oh, that's exciting, man. That's good. We'll have to put those on our YouTube as well. So yeah, very excited for that. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode where we talk about our thoughts on Starfield. Just to wrap it up, and you can find us on Instagram and TikTok. You can also, you know, if you like the show, the best way to help support us is to share it with a friend. And if you want to go that extra mile, you can support us on Patreon, and you'll get access to a Minecraft server.
Yep.
Yeah, we're so excited about that. I'm really excited to hop into Minecraft, man. I need to make a new house because it's fall. I think I'm gonna make myself a cottage. I'm excited for it.
Dude, I'm stoked to get back on Minecraft. It's been a minute since I played Minecraft, especially on my Xbox.
Yeah.
So this feels good to be back in my humble beginnings. Minecraft is where it's at.
Yeah, it's a very special game for the both of us. I'm just excited that we can have that. I guess have that in our community.
And no more griefers allowed.
Well, I guess if you want to grief, you have to pay for it. So. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the Sticky Buns Podcast.
See you in the streets.